الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فأوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى صلوات Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. Today I would like to have a concluding khutbah on the theme which we have been discussing so far in last almost about 2 months during the Muharram and Safar, and to have some conclusion or some takeaway message in the light of these khutbahs and discussions which we had. And then inshallah from next khutbah I will start a new theme, a new discussion inshallah, and that will be based on the verse number 104 of Surah Al Imran. So if you have time to look at that verse and have some of your own readings on the verse number alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, on the verse number 104 of Surah Al Imran, and inshallah we will develop a discussion, and we will have that discussion for almost the entire month of Rabiul Awwal and Rabiul Sani. So for about 2 months we will have a kind of a discussion, a series of discussions under that particular ayat. Today, as we have entered in the month of Rabiul Awwal, and on this weekend we will have the final majlis of the series of these majalis of Muharram and Safar on the 8th of Rabiul Awwal, which is the Shahadat day of our 11th Imam, Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salatu wassalam. Normally in many of our communities, 8th of Rabiul Awwal is considered the last day of Ayyam Aza. It's okay, and it's not any, God forbid, any shirk or bid'ah or kufr or something that if we think so that it's any major issue, but technically Ayyam Aza are concluded by the day of Arba'in. We need to keep that in mind, that Ayyam Aza again, as there is a popular saying, Kullu Yawmin Ashura, وَكُلُّ أَرْضٍ كَرْبَلَا. So if we really look at the philosophy of the Ashura and the philosophy of Aza, then every day is Ashura. If it is really a struggle between Haqq and Batil, and if we are supporting Haqq and we are confronting the Batil, and if we are joining the camp of Imam Hussain and standing in the camp of Imam Hussain, and opposing the army of Yazid and Ibn Ziyad, then every day is Ashura and every land is Karbala. But it doesn't mean that when we say Kullu Yawmin Ashura, then we don't celebrate any Wiladat of any Masoom, we don't have any day of Eid, we don't have Eid al-Fitr, we don't have Eid al-Adha, we don't have Eid Miladun Nabi, we don't have any Eid because it says Kullu Yawmin Ashura. Every day is Ashura. So there is some particular understanding which we need to derive from these words, from these ibarat, from these sayings. These sayings are true, but then they have true meanings. And the problem is that many times we derive the wrong meanings out of those true statements. Our understanding is not as we are supposed to have the understanding of those things. So when it comes to the days of Aza, I have mentioned many times and I keep mentioning it because I felt in my personal experience with many community members that the things which I have said dozens of times, later on I discovered that some of my own close friends and the regular attendees even don't remember that this is something which I had mentioned in front of them dozens of times. So that is why it makes me sometime to say certain things again and again and again. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, the one asdaqul qailin and the one that who is very much conscious of these things, even he repeats in Quran and asks even Prophet to repeat, because this repetition helps mu'mineen. And it helps. We all need reminders. All of us, we learn, we hear, and then we forget. So I have mentioned it many times and mentioning once again that if you literally look at the Islamic teachings, there is not any concept of Aza in Islam to begin with. Islam is a religion which is a religion of struggle. And anyone that who engages in struggle doesn't have time for Aza. Every time has to move forward. Every time have to keep collecting the dead bodies, keep picking the people, keep burying them and keep moving on. And be ready for the next sacrifice, for the next sacrifice, for the next sacrifice. At the day of Imam Hussain, at the day of Ashura, how much Aza Imam Hussain could afford? He had to give one sacrifice and go and collect that body and bring it back and put in the maqtal and then get ready for the offering, the next one. And then he would go and collect that one and come back, and then he would have to go for the third one. So basically, if you look at the lives of Anbiya never had time for Aza, because every day they knew that they have to offer a new sacrifice, a new struggle, a new sacrifice, a new struggle. And if you don't have the detailed accounts of the lives of previous Anbiya, we have all the nitty-gritty and the details of the life of our Khatamul Anbiya, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And we can look at his life and see that what kind of life he lived before announcing the prophethood, and then when he started his prophetic mission in 23 years, every day he had a struggle. Every day he had a new challenge. Every day he had to go through some new issues and new problems. He never had one day or one night where we can say this was sukh ka saans. This was a day when he had relief, and now he can sit still and he can celebrate, or he can have this day for azab. So basically, and that's why there is it's a story, and I have limited time in khutbah Jumma, but sometime kalam yajurul kalam, and when we talk, then sometime things do come which are relevant to mention. When Muslim bin Aqil was brought in chains in front of Ibn Ziyad, and Muslim bin Aqil started crying. So Ibn Ziyad didn't know why he is crying, so he mocked at him, and he said, a man, when someone gets into this kind of business which you folks have got, then people don't cry. Be a man. And why are you crying now? You jumped to something which had consequences, and now face the consequences. But Muslim bin Aqil said, you went wrong. You don't think that I am crying because of the consequences, and no, I cannot face the consequences. No, I am not crying for that. But my only this reason of crying is, and I'm kind of worried that I have invited Imam Hussain to Kufa, and he must be on his way, and he will be with women and children. And now I can see that how much pain and problem these poor ladies and children have to go through. So I'm crying for that. I'm not crying for this, that I will get killed. When you jump into these activities, when you get into these kind of activities, then meaning death is just a little thing to face. No one should cry for dying or for getting killed, because this is part of this business. So my point is, prophets were always determined for all those sacrifices what they have gone through, and they never cry for those experiences, and they never showed any weakness of that nature. And our Imams also have gone through the same thing. Aza, as we have discussed it earlier, for any death, it's for 3 days. When somebody passes away from our family members, it is written in all our books of hadith and akhlaq and fiqh that there is a 3 days, a period of ta'ziyat, and that is also to go and offer our condolences to the family who has lost someone. So we go for ta'ziyat. But that period of ta'ziyat is for 3 days in Islam. After 3 days, it is over. Now people have to get back to the business, to the work, to the job, to the what you call routine life. Back home in our cultures, somewhere it is 40 days, somewhere it is 4 months, somewhere it is 6 months, somewhere it is for 1 year. And we keep sitting and keep talking and keep chatting and keep receiving people and serving people and hosting people just for ta'ziyat. But ta'ziyat is for 3 days. After 3 days, it's over. So that's number one thing. That is for the regular things. When it comes to this aza of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam, this aza was encouraged by Ma'sumin alayhi salatu wassalam for a philosophy, for a reason. Otherwise, there is no aza in Islam. This aza was encouraged by Ma'sumin alayhi salatu wassalam, and the main reason was that this sacrifice of Imam Hussein was a turning point in the Islamic history. And this one day of Ashura and this day of sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam was there to ensure the new life to Islam and to the Islamic Ummah and to the Islamic community, and to prevent another Ashura and another sacrifice like this Karbala. So this thing was that this should be the last time when a Yazid or Ibn Ziyad was able to do such a crime, but never again no Yazid or no Ibn Ziyad should be able to do the same thing again. So there was a reason, there was a philosophy, and there are so many other lessons which we discussed in last 2 months and a half. Now I cannot go and get everything again, but there are, for lessons to learn, there was Aza of Imam Hussein. Initially this Aza of Imam Hussein was only one day. It was the day of Ashura, when it was observed at the day of Aza, day of Musibat, and it was one day. Then, and we have riwayat that sometime companions like Shabib, they come to see the Imam, and Imam alayhi salatu wasalam asked him, Shabib, do you know which day is today? And he says, Mawla, yes, I know. And then Imam explains to him the merits of that day and how this day should be commemorated and how one should do the Aza of Imam Hussein on that particular day. So all of our old riwayat, and if we look the history, it was one day. Then as we got more established, we got a bigger community, we felt that we can do more and we can do better, and in addition to Aza, we can derive some other community and benefits from it. So certain days were added. Then the 9th day was added, then the 8th day was added, then the 7th day was added, then the 6th day was added, and then a time came when we started this Aza from the 1st of Muharram until the day of Ashura. But it didn't happen from the first day. Go and do your own research and see that whether it started after for example, for 10 days. No, it started with 1 day. 1 day, and then we kept adding, and it started from the 1st of Muharram until the 10th of Muharram, but with 10th of Muharram, it was done, it was over. And then it was the day of Arba'in. But that was 1 day also. Arba'in was 1 day. It was not 5 days or 10 days, Ashra Zanabiya, or 10 days of Arba'in or 5 days of Arba'in. It was 1 day of Arba'in. So initially 1 day of Ashura, 1 day of Arba'in, and then 1 Ashara of Muharram, and then 1 day of Arba'in. But by the day of Arba'in, this Aza and Azadari, or this season, was concluded. Then for reasons, and again I am not against it, or I am not saying it is halal or haram, or it is haq or batil, or it is black or white, and you go out and start jumping to those conclusions. I am just telling you that how it started and how it reached to this point. And there are benefits that if you have extended period of this Aza, if you use those days and those opportunities in a meaningful way, in a productive way. If you have good speakers, and if you have good gatherings, and if you have good activities, and if you have good discussions, and if it is really helping the community to improve and evolve and get better and come closer to Imam Hussein and to the actions of Imam Hussein and the mission of Imam Hussein, yes, do it even for 6 months. No problem with that. But other than that, it is the day of Arba'in is the last day of Aza. Then after that, meaning waiting for the 8th of Rabiul Awwal. 8th of Rabiul Awwal is Shahadat of 11th Imam, like Shahadat of any other Imam. We don't have to extend from the Arba'in day to 8th of Rabiul Awwal to keep extending it. You know, the flip side is that then again we have made a culture that in these days no one is going to get married, no one is going to make proposal, nobody is going to see a new, for example, potential bride or groom, nobody is going to start a new business, nobody is going to, for example, start building his house or his shop or market. So the entire activity of a family and a community gets on hold, not for one day, not for 1 month and 20 days, but even 2 months and 8 days. Imagine that if from your calendar you take away 2 months and 8 days, how many days and how many months and how many weeks are left? And then you want to compete with your neighbor and with your other competitors, and you want to run business and you want to run your career and you want to do so many other things. So, meaning, does it make any sense? Then these desperate people call us and they are embarrassed even to ask, Maulana, there is something and we have to do it and I want to do it. My wife is stopping me and my wife wants to do and I am stopping, and this is the month of Safar, and should we do, shouldn't we do, whether it is okay, whether it is not okay. Baba, it is not written anywhere. We don't have single riwayat. And I am saying with this turban, standing behind his pulpit, a man who has spent his life in reading and teaching, there is not a single riwayat that someone came to Masoom and he said, Mawla, I want to do this, and Mawla said, no, you cannot do it because it is month of Muharram. No, you cannot do it because it is month of Safar. Riwayat talks only about the day of Ashura. Only the day of Ashura. That it's makruh, and it's not again haram, it's makruh. We need to follow the law as the law is. We cannot put our own color and our own emotions in the law. Islam is a very practical religion. So, riwayat is only about the day of Ashura. It is not even about the 9th of Muharram. It is not about the 8th or 7th of Muharram. And it's not again about the 13th of Muharram or 15th of Muharram or 20th of Muharram or any other day. It's only about the Ashura. That we are told that don't work on the day of Ashura and don't save anything for the day of Ashura, on the day of Ashura, and spend this entire day of Ashura in the memories of Imam Hussain and his Awano Ansar. And cry for him as you have lost your own one just today. And spend your entire day of Ashura in Azadari and in war. That is what we have in our books, in our riwayat. But other than that, it is man-made addition. It's our culture. It's our ancestors, our fathers, our mothers, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, and people in different locations started in good faith, and since they were so emotional and they were doing it in out of their love, that nobody felt comfortable to correct them. And if you don't correct people in the very beginning, then it becomes a muqaddas tradition, it becomes a holy thing, it becomes part of culture. We have always seen like that, we have always heard like that in my town, in my village, my father, my grandfather, people in my town, people in my village, people everywhere. Now they see what they are doing, so it means it is okay. So, my brothers and sisters, we need to keep in mind, it's good to have these majalis and aza and azadari, but on the same time we cannot stop the life. We cannot stop the business. We cannot stop the, for example, family and community activities. Life has to continue. The activities, the business has to continue. Education has to continue. People, if they want to do certain things in their life, they have to continue doing it. So that is something which people need to understand. On the day of, like on the 20th day of Safar, Ayyam Azha, they end. I know some people will say, oh, in Iran they do like that. In Iran there is not one pattern, there are many patterns. Iranis are, mashallah, experts of making the new trends and breaking the old trends and then making the new trends, and they keep changing and making and doing all that. We Indians are stuck with whatever we make, it becomes holy forever. But at least they are people that do make the trends and then break the trends. And then they change and get into the new modes. We don't change gears. Whatever we are stuck with, then we are stuck with forever. So I am more familiar than you folks about the culture of Iran or the culture of Iraq or the culture of Lebanon or culture of India or Pakistan or anywhere. And of course, I have read books and books and books, and my presentation is based on references. And I know it is dangerous to talk about it. But if I am putting myself in danger, so you should not be worried about this danger, just only for listening. Recite a salawat. So that was one point I thought I should mention in the beginning and then expand, but all time went in that, explaining just that Azha is only for 3 days for our own Azha, and Azha of Imam Hussain from the 1st of Muharram until the day of Arba'i. Alaikum salam. Then my brothers and sisters, this Azha is not only for Azha. I tried to mention when I was giving those two speeches replacing Maulana or Agha Rastani. I started that discussion, but then I could not really conclude it. This is Azha and this is for Azha, but these majalis or this Azadari is not only for Azha. Azha is one part of it, but it has other things in it also, and that is to educate people about the teachings of Imam Hussain, the life of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain didn't live in this dunya only for 10 days. Imam Hussain lived for 57 years. Where is 57 years of Imam Hussain? Imam Hassan Mujtaba didn't live only one day, 28th of Safar. Imam Hassan also lived for 48 years. So these A'imma lived, if you take their average life, around 40 or 50 years. So we have their lives of 40 or 50 years. And we need to, these opportunities of Azadari of 1 month and 20 days give us the chance to go through and take a tour and have a series of lectures going through the life experience of all these Ma'asumeen from first until the last, and particularly the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, the legacy of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, and the teachings of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. So we need to learn, educate ourselves about the life, the mission of Imam Hussain. Mission of Imam Hussain was not to make us cry. Our cry for Imam Hussain is expression of our love for Imam Hussain. But Imam Hussain didn't die in Karbala that we until the day of judgment will sit down and we will cry for him. Nobody gives his life for other people to cry for him. Even if all of you together come and tomorrow tell me, Maulana, we will cry for all of our life for you, but tomorrow you get killed. Who will get killed just because other people will cry for him? Imam Hussain had much higher and much more important mission. Innama kharajtu li talabil islah fi ummati jaddi. I have come out to bring islah, reform in the ummat of my grandfather. Li talabil islah fi ummati jaddi. وَأَنْ آمُرَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَأَنْهَا عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. And I came out to do Amr bil Ma'roof and Nahi Anil Munkar. وَأَنْ أَسِيرَ بِسِيرَةِ جَدِّي وَأَبِي. And I want to live the life of my grandfather and life of my father. So, this is the mission of Imam Hussain. And these majalis are supposed to charge us. First educate us, then motivate us and charge us and inspire us to go ahead and commit with the mission of Imam Hussain. A good son is the one that who knows my father got killed for this mission, so now I have to commit now my life to the mission of my father. As Imam Zainul Abidin committed his life with the mission of his father Imam Hussain, as Imam Ja'far Sadiq committed his life, and Imam Muhammad Baqir committed his life for the mission of Imam Hussain and Imam Sajjad and Imam Baqir and Imam Ja'far Sadiq. Nobody were more azadar than Imam Sajjad. Imam Sajjad is the founder of Azadari. But go and show me how many marsiyas and how many salams Imam Sajjad had written and produced. Imam Sajjad, how many salams and how many marsiyas do we have from Imam Sajjad? He is Azadar. But Imam Sajjad, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ahadith from him, teachings from him, khutbas from him, and then we have these du'as from Imam Sajjad which are compiled in Sahifa Kamila. Do you have any diwan of Imam Sajjad? Do you have any bayaz? Do you have any basta from Imam Sajjad? Even in Arabic? You don't have it. So all what that Imam Sajjad is teaching you how to do the Azadari. Imam Sajjad, he was an institution of Azadari. Wherever he was, he didn't need Muharram, he didn't need Safar. Imam Sajjad didn't need any particular day, any time, in market, in darbar, in bazaar. He would see a qassab, he would see a man slaughtering the animal, and Imam Sajjad's majlis is there. Imam Sajjad sees a young man like Ali Akbar, Imam Sajjad sheds his tears and he mentions Ali Akbar and moves on. Imam Sajjad looks at a little boy in the lap of the mother. This baby reminds him Ali Asghar. Imam Sajjad looks at that baby, asks what is his name, how old he is, looks at him, prays for him, and then sheds the tear and remembers Ali Asghar and moves on. You understand what I am trying to say? Imam Sajjad is institution of Azadari. But Imam Sajjad is engaged in activity. Imam Sajjad is taking care of orphans, of all those people who got killed in Karbala. Imam Hussain is helping all those, Imam Sajjad is helping all those widows. They lost their husbands in Karbala. Imam Sajjad is establishing a new community because the community after Karbala was ruined. Imam Sajjad is building the community. Imam Sajjad is teaching the teachings of Imam Hussain and Imam Amirul Mu'mineen to the students and making sure that there won't be another Karbala after this Karbala. And he produces a son like Imam Muhammad Baqir and gives him a school. And Imam Baqir makes that school eventually to college, and Imam Ja'far Sadiq brings this college to the level of university. This is the Azadari of Imams. This is the Azadari of Ahlul Bayt. Closing the business is not Azadari. Closing the school and closing the shop and is not Azadari. Only wearing the black is not Azadari. Giving the slogans and chanting the slogans is not only Azadari. Azadari is doing what Sayyida Zainab did. Azadari is doing what Sayyid Sajjad did. Azadari is what Imam Muhammad Baqir and Imam Sadiq did. That is the Azadari. They were the institutions of Azadari, walking and talking Azadari everywhere. And that is the message, my brothers and sisters, for this season. That I hope that we have listened those speeches and those majalis carefully. We have taken some notes, we have learned some lessons, and inshallah, now in coming days, we have to commit ourselves with the mission of Imam Hussain. And we should give our time, our talent, our resources to uphold that alam of Abul Fazl al-Abbas with virtues, with activities. And we should continue the mission of, inshallah, mission of our Imam. And next year when Muharram comes, then we are at a higher phase. We are in a better condition. And then we keep building upon it. This is why this institution is institution of building the minds, changing the minds, inspiring, motivating, educating, and bringing people together and connecting them with Imam Hussain, yani with the mission of Imam Hussain, with the work of Imam Hussain. Recite salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل على اللهم صل على أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. صل على محمد. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء. وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وعلى آبائه الكرام متصل الليالي والأيام. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.